Hey guys, hello everyone, and welcome. I'm Jenna Flackert,
And I'm Leonka Reyna.
and this is the How Hustle Mystic Morning Show. Today we're talking with Emily Dexter, and we're talking to her about how to navigate the eclipse chaos. We're also going to talk to her a little bit about some mystical skepticism and beliefs and other delicious things like that. I'm sure it's going to be a fun conversation.
Yes, we're so excited today. But before we do all of that, I've got a little bit of Mystic Space Weather News. That's right. For today's Mystic Space Weather News, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the eclipse that's happening this week. And we'll also ask Emily Dexter about it because she does a really great report that she even puts on Instagram. And she even talks about the equinox that's happening on Monday. So just wanted to give you a heads up. But for my report, I wanted to let you know that the Earth is in the middle of a solar stream, wind blowing that is faster. So this is the sun is streaming the solar flares that it does, that is faster than 700 kilometers. So that's 1.6 million miles per hour. It's called the gale, is blowing from a large butterfly-shaped hole in the sun's atmosphere. So did you know that the sun has like a little hole and it's in the shape of a butterfly? And that's
I do
what's
now.
streaming this
I love
solar
it.
activity.
Yeah.
And last week, oddly enough, it was in the shape of I want to say it was a reverse S. And so some people were saying it kind of signified maybe Sigma. They had some different theories about it. So I would definitely check out the good old internet for that.
Sure.
And we also had the first contact with this particular butterfly shaped stream. And you know what? I mean, sometimes everything happens for a reason, as that's what we believe on this show. So maybe kind of thinking about, what does butterfly signify for your life? What does this new energies coming in really mean? So yes, right. And we'll talk again with Emily, who will tell us a little bit about why this particular time is so magnetic, so strong. But to use a little bit of science here, the first contact with this stream was on September 14th, and it sparked auroras of over more than a dozen U.S. states from Alaska to Arizona. So it was very, very prominent. And normally a solar wind like this might cause no more than a minor G class 1 storm. In this case, this particular stream was classified as a G3. And this is because it basically it links the magnetic field of the sun, and we talk a lot about that on the show, to the magnetic field of the earth. And during the weeks around, and it does this during the weeks around the equinoxes. So we can expect more of these equinox storms from now through the mid-October. So again, when you use science to talk about some of the unrest and some of the stuff that happens, of course, the magnetic field really determines like how the bugs fly, the birds, how we act. You know that there's documented data that says, you know, there's times of unrest and unsettled humans during the times of a solar maximum. So this is what we are in this particular peak out of 11-year cycle. So now you've got this extra equinox magnetic field and the streaming from the butterfly that is coming to Earth. So just know all the things that I always talk about. Give yourself time for grounding, drink tons of water, and give yourself grace. Yeah. And that's what I got for today's Mystic Space Weather News.
Just a reminder, if you are on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Also wanted you guys to know that this Thursday, we're having an amazing speaker. We've had him on once before. His name is Adam Apollo. It will be live stream only. We did a pre-record with him. It was a dynamic conversation about skepticism and changing your beliefs and how to really truly know that you know.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a little bit of cool AI in there and some of the new innovations of what he's doing with AI.
And some private stories that he shares. He always likes to share with us.
It's weird. Sometimes he just pulls things out of him that he's like, I don't know, I've never shared this on a podcast. So there's some sneaky things in there like that. So make sure that you plan to join us on Thursday at the same time and the same place. Let's go ahead and bring Emily up.
And while you're doing that, I'll just tell you a little bit about Emily. So Emily Dexter is a spiritual translator, a psychic, and a psychic activator, historical channel, medium, teacher, energy reader, best-selling author, spiritual travel guide, and public speaker. In the past decade, she's worked with thousands of incredible clients and students, including award-winning actors, filmmakers, CEOs, Olympic athletes, and coaches, world-renowned musicians, New York Times best-selling authors, and people just like you. Welcome, Emily.
Hello.
Hello. We had
Hello.
a very fun conversation last time, and I was like, I need to really start diving in her work. And I mean, we've had many, many conversations, and we know once some of these gifts come online, some of these light psychic gifts, that the more you practice it, the deeper it gets. And knowing you and knowing you've been practicing this for many, many, many years.
And guiding others too. I think that also helps your gifts come even further online
Right.
when you start teaching it.
It's really clear that you're really connected with everything.
Thank you. Yeah. It's so nice to see you both again. Thank you for having me back on the
Yay.
show. I am watching my parents' dog at the moment, so I'm like sitting on the floor of my mom's office. So if you're like, what is going on with the background? That's what's going on with the background.
Well,
Um,
your hair is on point. Love the
Yep.
background. So yes, it's working
Very
for
on
you.
point.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, for just background for everyone here, I've been psychic my entire life. Um, Conscious that not everyone was doing exactly what I was doing since I was about 7 or 8. And then I've been guiding people, and giving them readings since I was about 15 years old. I'm not 15 anymore. It's been a long time, since then. And I've also been helping people open and activate their own psychic abilities for also a really, really long time because it is not something that you have to just inherit and have. Everyone has them. It is an innate human thing, and it's just a matter of opening them up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wanted to talk to you today about the eclipse and all this chaotic energy. It seems that you have some psychic insights on really how to navigate this chaos. Wanted to see if we could start there.
And let me
Yeah.
fangirl for a second. When I watched so I was checking out because I love doing the space weather news and I come from, spaceweather.com, which is really kind of nerdy. But when I was watching your Instagram and your reports, I was like, dang, she is so connected and clued in.
Yeah.
And I love that you bring it from that perspective. So tell us a little bit about how you also gather the information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we even talk about your process psychically?
Yeah, I'm
gathering
telling
it?
you, we're fangirling over here.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. No, thank you.
Yeah.
We can absolutely talk about my process psychically. So
Awesome.
what I do is every week I put out an energy forecast, for everybody. I love that you do like the space news weather. That's amazing and so fun. Mine is very much more based on the actual energy that I see coming in. So I do it in kind of a couple step process, because the energy is different for everyone. So I'm trying to get it as generalized as possible while also being as specific as I can to like what is happening in that week. So I start by kind of tapping into the energy of collective in general. I'll tap into that and be like, okay, what is coming up? Like, what do I see? And I really limit the window of like, okay, just for this next week, what is coming up? What do I see? Sometimes I will see actual images with that, of like, oh, there's this, so this, that. And I'm like, okay, we're
Wow.
gonna have this happen or that happen. I see that in the space. Other times it's more just like, this is the vibes. This is the way that the energy is going to come off. I will physically feel it, or sometimes I'll energetically just know. Sometimes even emotionally, I'll feel it and I'll be like, okay, that's what we're looking at collective. And
Got
it's kind
it.
of just like tuning the energy to like tuning to the frequency of collective when I tap into it.
Yeah.
So there's that. Then I will try to take it very personal. So instead of like this general blanket of collective, I'll be like, okay, going down one more step in frequency to more of like if I could pick out individual people, is there trends I'm seeing, like groups of people clumping
Oh.
together, things like that happening. And then I do the same sort of process where I tap in and I get deeper from there.
Mhm.
Um, and then occasionally I will take it even up further if I'm like, oh, okay, things are really weird. What's going on? Then I'll go like to the frequency of essentially the way that the deities are communicating, or the way that the guides are communicating, or way Earth, centered beings are communicating, that type of thing. I'll be like, what's going on, team? Like, what are we doing here? Whoever wants to come through and tell me, like, and give me some updates there. With this week's energy, it was simple as heck to figure out what the heck was going on because it is so incredibly dynamic. So everyone in here most likely knows, but we are in the middle of eclipse season. The interesting thing with this eclipse season, I'm not an astrologer, but my business partner is, we were just talking about this yesterday. This eclipse season not only is messy in and of itself, but it's also the solar eclipse that was a complete solar eclipse from last April, not the one this year, but the year 2024, that came directly over the United States. That complete solar
Oh,
eclipse, that is
Yeah.
the eclipse that's actually applying to this eclipse season. Because the way it works
oh,
with
Interesting.
yeah.
yeah.
You
So the way
know,
it works with
watching it
solar
together.
eclipses is however long they last, that's how many basically years it takes to like hit the full impact. So by minute. So it was a 2 minute eclipse. Here we are. So
Oh,
here we are. It's
wow.
now
So for a
applying.
year later, right? So that's what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
by the minute, right? So you're saying
Yeah.
like
So it's about a year and a
minutes
half
and then yeah,
later. Hmm.
interesting.
Hmm.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that is why it's hitting us right now. So it's not only this weird eclipse energy that was affecting
That's,
collective.
that
I
makes
also had to
sense.
look at the energy of back then and be like, how are you affecting collective? Because both of them are happening kind of at the same time. And
Nice.
that's just to say it's like a sandwich of chaotic is really where that comes in. And of course, we had the lunar eclipse first, and now we're approaching the solar eclipse this Sunday. And I will say this actual solar eclipse energy, I'm like, okay, you're kind of messy, you're kind of chaotic, kind of dynamic. But unless you are the leader of a country or a very, very high-powered CEO, I wouldn't be freaked out by it or scared of it. If I was a leader of a country or a very high-powered CEO, I would be a little bit freaked out by it, to be totally honest, because the energy is pretty intense. In more ancient times or early medieval times, they actually used to remove kings from the throne for the day of the solar eclipse and install a fake king on the throne because if that king died during the solar eclipse, it was fine, he was fake. And that's how consistent it was that the eclipse was so vibrant. Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So when I look at it, I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
we got some of that energy going on. Very
Yeah.
interesting. And it's kind of the way that I always describe eclipses is kind of like you're sitting inside of tornado trying to manifest things. The tornado is going to bring you stuff. You're guaranteed to have stuff come. But if you're like, I would like a mailbox, they'll be like, here's a cow. And that's not what you're going to get, right? So this is a lot of space of like us observing and receiving whatever is coming our way with eclipses.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And
So,
Mhm.
then there's always the the reorganizing principle too, that
Mhm.
whenever something breaks into chaos, nature has to break down into chaos in order
Mhm.
to represent itself. And we see this in sacred geometry as something more
100%.
complex and more organized and beautiful, right? So you get these more beautiful, complex structures, but it does break down into chaos for just a little while. How does that play into kind of where we are? I feel like maybe that kind of also feeds into maybe we might have a little bit more like sanity somewhere.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I will say, like, chaos for us feels uncomfortable a lot of
Yeah.
the time, but
Yeah.
chaos innately is creation energy. That is the
Yes.
essence.
yes.
Like
Yes.
every single pagan and
Lean
like
in. Yes.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single pagan and belief system that has any type of pantheon of deity, everybody starts in the primordial waters of chaos. Everybody does. Like
Yes.
that's just for the most part, that is the base level myth because that is where creation comes from, is from
Yes.
this chaotic energy. And that is how it applies to us too. And I think that chaos specifically, when I tap into the energy, because it's important to know with chaos, and I'll say it on here because you guys are all woo-woo as much as me, which is really nice. There's the energy of chaos, and there's also like the being that is chaos. He is a primordial deity. I say he's not very gendered, but that's how he tends to show up. So
Sure.
I'm just gonna throw it there. But there is a primordial entity that is chaos. You can actually talk to. Like you can talk to him and he'll come in. He's not chill, but he'll talk to you for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and I think in that talking to him and both understanding the energy of chaos. The power of that is really amazing. And I will say, what we're kind of going through right now, it may feel very personally chaotic. Whenever we're in a space like that, recently I was even talking to my guides about it, and they're like, "This is the feeling of transformation. Like, don't call it anything else. Like, that's what
Yes.
you're feeling. Is you're feeling
Yeah.
transformation. It is an emotion. It's not just a like a thing that happens." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And ever since then, I was like, "Okay, I totally understand that chaotic feeling of so many emotions happening at the same time." That is growth. That is change. That is building something new. You're pulling that out of chaos in general. The one weird thing that chaos is doing right now, though, just to be totally honest, it's affecting the bugs like nobody's business. And I could like really, if it could like not do that, though, that would be like really fine with me. I don't know if anyone else in here is having that issue, but I was tapping into it last week and I was like, wow, okay, so the bugs are really responding to this like very intensely because
I
they
did
have a
have
lot
a
of,
dream
Yeah.
about bugs the other night.
I did.
I,
That was
I like my husband, I was like, oi, oi. And then Roy goes, Lee. And he woke me up and he goes, are you okay? And I go, the bugs. Like they were just, going down my back. Like, I mean, I don't know why, but it was kind of prophetic. Sometimes I have those kind of odd dreams. It was kind of weird that you brought that in. I don't know why that just jumped in. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, it's exactly that. So bugs are very much kind of a embodiment of chaos energy in general. Because like, yes, they have an organization to them. They tend to be
Yes.
they create things, but also they completely do whatever the hell they want at any point in time. Like
Yeah.
they are very much an embodiment of that chaos kind of perspective. And they are having a moment this
Yeah.
during this eclipse season where they're coming into people's houses or they're acting really weird or
Okay.
a
Showing
thing.
up in
Um,
dreams.
Showing up in dreams. And when I was starting to have bug things, I was like, is this chaos stuff? And it was like, yep, this is evidence of how much chaos is
How
hitting you. I'm like,
funny.
Wow.
what?
And that started last week?
Yeah, it started
That's
last
when I
week,
had the
basically with
dream.
the start of eclipse season. Yeah. So
Wow.
Would you
yeah.
Interesting.
do you look at chaos as also happening on a personal level, like getting so far out of your comfort zone? Like, how do you define it in your world? Like, what is it to you?
To me,
Oh,
it's
wow.
the energy of creation in general. So I would say
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's necessarily getting so far out of your comfort zone. I think sometimes chaos happens in your comfort zone.
Mhm.
And that's where it has the most power, right? Like if your comfort's sitting in your comfort zone, all of a sudden something comes in and like wrecking balls it and everything changes really quickly.
Yeah.
That's that chaos energy, right? Like
Yes.
that's that energy
Yes.
coming up to play. So for me, it's truly the energy of that creation element. It's that, hey, it's the tower card. That's the simplest one. It's the tower
Yeah.
card. We kicked over your sandcastle. Now your sandcastle is everywhere, and you've got to figure out how to rebuild it. Um,
Yes.
and that
And
is that
some people
energy.
see the tower card as like really, really negative, but really, when you look at the tower card and when it's kind of like read in tarot,
Yeah.
it is basically like you said, transformation. It's like, okay, yes, we
Mhm.
shook everything up. You're falling off the tower, for those who may not be familiar. And now there is something new that you can expect, or, maybe
Mhm.
you've been asking for, right? But
Yeah,
this has to kind of shake you up sometimes and
I love
lose your
Yeah.
tower, lose your castle. Like,
Yeah,
let's go.
it's an essential and it's an
Yeah,
essential part of being
yeah,
a
yeah.
person or being down here on this layer of the universe cake,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah, I
Is
want to
figuring
talk a
it out.
little bit about, do you see chaos as this entity energy? It was
Yeah.
funny,
Yeah.
last week I did a dragon hypnosis on the Sandman and sleep, and the Sandman was an entity like that. And in the energetic field, I actually see it that way.
Hmm.
What other kind of energy entities do you play with like that?
A ton of them. So chaos is one of those. Oops, sorry. If I don't know if you heard my parents' dog bark. She's a bit neurotic, so we're riding that wave.
We don't
Um,
even hear it.
Filter for background
Yeah.
noise in it.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't hear it.
Basically, when I talk about chaos or other primordial entities, those are kind of the laws of the universe entities in general. And when I say laws of the universe entities, like truly, like there is at the very tippy top of, like I said, that universe cake, right? It's like creator energy, and then underneath that, it's kind of those primordial entities. And those entities, again, embody memory or blue or chaos or whatever it is, kind of principles of the universe. And they can show up as beings, kind of like the Titans. If you're looking at like Hellenic mythology, that's kind of what Titans were generally described as. Titans are a little bit different, but just as an example. Um, so I'll work with them on occasion. Honestly, they're hard to work with because they're very singularly minded. They have the thing that they do, and that is the thing that they do. Unlike deities or, guides or other types of being fae or dragons or whatever, they have many things going on because they're a little bit more rounded where, chaos is chaos is chaos. Like that is the everything embodiment. But
Mhm.
yeah, can be spoken to and worked with like an entity, absolutely. Time is one of those that I will mess with on occasion if we're
Yeah.
talking real entities. I also work with purple on occasion. Why? I don't know. Because they like to hang out and they want
Interesting.
to. I don't know. They don't really do a whole ton specifically, but they'll pop through under certain stuff. I'm like, oh, apparently this needs the color purple. We'll like put that in.
So funny.
Um,
So I gotta tell you something. We just gotta stop right there so
okay.
you all can have a strong giggle. When I was doing the series in 2010, I kept seeing and bringing on people on the show that had these massively purple websites with this like scripted font, Scriptina or something.
Oh,
And I said to Lianka when we started this business, I was like, we can go as weird, woo, and wild as we want, but no purple people. And then it's been this like ongoing joke. So people say the word purple, and I'm like, is that a purple person? Basically, that, they're like way out there, like so almost out of touch and only in the spirit world. I feel like their lower chakra is just aren't alive in a lot of ways, right?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
And no judgment. We have it on some purple.
we've put purple people on our show.
And it's pink. That's right.
I mean, I totally know exactly what you're talking about with that though, completely.
Right?
So
So as
absolutely.
soon as you said purple, I'm like, sorry, I gotta bring
No,
it
that's
up.
great. I appreciate that.
No
I know
judgment
exactly
here,
the type
though.
of
No
people
judgment.
you're talking
Right.
about. Yeah.
We're a loving community. We're a loving community.
Mhm.
But in that same vein, when sometimes, so bringing that in, sometimes there are times where we are too much into the floaty instead of bringing it down to an embodied presence, right? So, bringing things through to our entire chakras, like sometimes, and myself included, like I have had times where I've listened to, different summits or whatever, and I get all spaced out, and then I can't, really focus in on how to be here. How do you approach that with certain food? Do you see that in your work as well? Like sometimes people would rather, and I know because we talked about this kind of on the pre-call and how you like to break things and bring it back into usable, formulated ways in which people can, take what you share with them and then bring it to where it benefits their life. And I thought, yes, I wish everybody else was talking this way.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I wish more were sharing it in this way sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do too. Oftentimes, half the time something will pop up on like my TikTok and I'll be like, oh no. Just like scroll past that. But no, truly, thank you for queuing that in because I think it's so important. I do a lot with, I call it just really grounded spirituality where it's like simple and approachable and fun. Like the fun has to be there. What I have noticed when people get really ungrounded, it's typically some type of escapism from whatever is going on Earth side, like down here in Earth space. And don't get me wrong, is it super fun to be in the spiritual spaces? Yeah, yeah, it's way better to be like flying through astral space than sitting here paying taxes. Like that is a way more fun thing to do. Um, but when it comes to that, that isn't a balanced thing, and everything does rely on balance, which when I say balance, just to be very clear for everyone on here, I'm not saying everything happens equally. I'm saying everything gets the attention it needs. That is
I
true
like
beauty and
that.
balance. So if you want to be a better spiritual person or a stronger spiritual energy or tap that more in, you also have to be focusing on your mental health down here, focusing on your earth life down here, making sure things down here are as organized and as aligned as possible. As far as like techniques too, is there's also so many ways to bring spirituality into your day to day that is not such a complete detachment from what's going on in your like physical earth life that you have to sit there and meditate for 3 hours, right? Like you can do very casual things. One of my favorite things to do with my guides, two things I'll say. Favorite things to do with my guides, especially if I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking to you about today. I just kind of want to hang out. I'll go on a scavenger hunt with them. So I'll be like, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. I want one magical thing to happen. Can you guys make one magical thing happen? Can you give me one piece of validation while I'm at the grocery store?
Yes.
And maybe it'll end up being like something falls off the shelf and someone picks it up and they're wearing a shirt that has a repeating number on it or something like that. I'm like, okay, like it's something small, it's something fun. Sometimes it's been bigger, sometimes it's been finding money on the ground. I mean, it's whatever it is that my guides will just play the game with me. But then I come back feeling like, yeah, I'm so much more spiritual. And sometimes I'll be like, huh, nothing really magical happened. Interesting. And I never take it as like, oh, I failed, I didn't see it, anything like that. Don't do that to
I
yourself.
love that you're saying that as well.
Yeah.
Because I kind of used to do that. I'd be like, oh, I don't know if it works. Like,
Right.
all the things that we do that our ego wants to talk me out of, like really feeling into my spiritual and my intuition, right? Like I say intuition because it's like a easy word to say, but into my magical gifts.
Yeah. Well, the thing with that too is we really love to put the blame on ourselves because we are existing down here in our own mind. But really, I mean, your guides are the magical ones that don't have to eat. Like they didn't show you the strong enough sign. It's fine to be like, yo, I didn't see whatever that magical thing was that you sent me. Could you send me something better? That is a way better way of dealing with that than applying like, oh, it was my fault. I didn't see it. It didn't actually work. They maybe tried to, and you just didn't see it. And they're like, got to be like, hey, you got to make it more obvious. Make it more inevitable that I see this magical thing, please.
I
And
was going
that's
to just
totally
ask
fair.
about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a quick second about that, about the
Mhm.
ways in which that you utilize communication with your guides, like you're
Mhm.
saying right now. And I just kind of backing this up so people can actually learn this. Like you're telling them, hey, I didn't see this last time. Can you give me stronger sign? Or how do you use that?
I will
How do
say
you hone into that better communication? And what advice would you give us for here?
one, you can communicate either out loud or think with intention. It doesn't have to be said in a specific way. The big thing here is that it's said intentionally to your guides in some capacity, right? Everyone has
Okay.
spirit guides, even if you think you don't. I promise you do. Everybody does.
Everybody does.
Everybody does, for better or for worse, because that also means the worst person you know also has spirit guides, and that's
Right.
kind of unfortunate
They're
sometimes.
busy.
Right? Like, dang. I actually was, oh, that's an antidote. I won't tangent on that. But how I discovered that was, I was very much on the kick of like, I will figure out if everyone has them. Let's talk about like the
Oh,
worst people
girl,
ever.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was like tapping into like spirit or to like serial killers and things like that. I'm like, I just want to see if they have spirit
Interesting.
guides.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
do. It sucks. But they do because
Some of them are demons too.
But
I
don't
mean,
they come to
yeah.
play that role in some aspects?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's just
okay.
it. I was very upset about it at the time. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why do they get to have spiritual help too?
Right.
And very much my guides were like, well, the universe doesn't operate off of your sense of morality, Emily. And I was like, well, damn, fine. Like,
Dang,
you're
that's
right.
good.
But
Yeah.
okay. Which is, icky, but also like sort of empowering too. So anyway, beside the point. You can talk out loud to them. You can think with intention to them. You can write to them, any of that capacity, whatever works good for you. What I will say though is they're here to help you. Your spirit guide, your spirit teams are here to help you do stuff down here. Now, that doesn't always mean they're going to give you exactly what you're wanting to understand, because there could oftentimes be reasons why you're not supposed to have that information right now, or they need you to be confused about this because then you do this thing which you need to do over here, which results in this thing. So it sometimes can be like a chain here. So it's a lot better to be really open and receptive to being like, okay, this is what I need. I really need clarity on this before I go to bed on Friday. So if I just need clarity on this thing before I go to bed on Friday, make sure it's inevitable that I find this clarity before then. And then on Friday morning, check in, be like, okay, do I feel more clear about that? If nothing big has happened, see if you just maybe naturally have it. Has it maybe just naturally come up and started to become a close for you? That's still a valid way of them communicating, even if it's not like a lightning strike. But I will use that all the time. I'll do make it inevitable all the time. Even if I'm like in a fight with my lovely, amazing husband, he's the sweetest ever. But if we're in like an argument or something, I'll be like, "Oh, I really want to say this thing. If I'm supposed to say it, make sure there's a space where I can actually say it. If I'm not supposed to say it, then if there'll be no space for me to do so." And it works every 100% of the time. 100% of the time. That'll work. But very much it can be really, really clear. And I always recommend don't just ask your guides the big questions, because we always get stuck on like the stuff we want to know that's so intimately impactful to our life when it comes to our spirit guides, right? Like, am I supposed to leave my job? Is this the right person for me? When is this coming in? Like those types of things. We really, really get in on that. But your guides are also like full and complete whole beings that also have lives outside
Yeah.
of what they're doing. And like this is part
Oh,
of their
you're gonna
journey
have
as
to
well.
expand on that.
Yeah. I mean, they're full and complete beings in existence. Like, no, they're not physically incarnated, but they're on a different realm, in a different plane, whatever they're doing. They have a house. Like they have,
Yeah.
a place that they live. They have friends. They have a favorite food. Like, you can bring up all sorts of stuff with them. They are whole and complete beings too.
Yeah.
Um, So when it comes to talking to them, I always say like start out asking mundane stuff. Like, do you like soup? Like what's your favorite color? Like those types of things, like very casual things, because then your human brain's going to be so much more receptive to
Yeah.
letting the information in, because it doesn't care if that thing wants soup. But if there's something external advising you on whether or not you should leave your job, your human brain's like, whoa. Whoa, whoa, that's a big, different, scary thing.
Yeah.
And it's harder to get the information in. But if you get used to it with like little mundane things, be like, Today, show me your favorite color, a whole bunch," and like be open and receptive to that and
How
be like, okay,
cool.
I saw green a ton. I guess your favorite color is green. And
Oh,
like
I
do different
love
things like
this.
that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
becomes
Emily,
so much easier.
I did not even know. Like, I love talking with them, but I didn't know that I could do that in that way. Like to be so like, I want to know about you. Like I really, I've asked the name and that kind of weird stuff, but like I don't think I know enough other than Dolores Cannon's work, like about our guides in that way,
Yeah.
like how, they have their own existence on a plane. Like I remember reading about some of that and they do have their houses and their like,
Yeah.
pods and everything like that. But I didn't realize that you can really have a relationship in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
I
I say
love
my guides
that.
are my
So
best friends,
cool.
like I genuinely mean it. Like we have
That's
inside
so
jokes. Like
cool.
they're
Yeah.
like
Yeah, they're
really,
funny in general.
Yeah, mine's super funny.
yeah.
I mean, I talk
Some
with
of
them
mine
all the
are.
time, but I just didn't
Yeah.
realize like man, I feel
And
like
play games with them.
yes.
We need
Yeah.
to play more
The
games.
other message I have been really getting, and I'm sorry that but the other message I've been really getting is for humanity, like for everyone, maybe even just listening to this, ask better questions,
Oh
ask
yeah.
more questions. Can you talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Please ask better questions, ask more questions. I also think that it's super important in that sense of asking questions that we always ask for broadened perspective. So
Okay.
instead of asking things like, what should I do about this? It can also be like, oh, what's in my highest and best, or how is it in my highest and best to handle this situation right now? And like expanding perspectives instead of that like narrowing in of like, I just need a yes or a no. Be like, well, I need to be shown a way to navigate this. Let's open that up. Let's like expand upon that. The other thing I'll say with that too is oftentimes we're afraid to ask questions because they might change things. And I think that's the huge precipice that we're at, especially with spiritual stuff, especially during this eclipse season, because this specific eclipse season, to go super woo-woo with it, I was tapping in
Yes.
right before the lunar eclipse happened. And I was like, ooh, this one's going to be very interesting. And this is not something I shared necessarily on all my social media. It's talked about on my podcast a little bit, but not a ton. And my guides were like, uh-huh. And I was like, oh, that was a quick agreement. Why is it going to be that way? Like,
Yeah,
can we like expand on
no.
that?
Yeah, please.
And
And
basically
I
what they
feel
showed
that,
me,
yes.
yeah, what they
Yeah.
showed me is for the first time, we are at a high enough vibration, which I'm sure you talk about it a lot, but our planet's rising in vibration, which is essentially to say magic is becoming more real. We are going to
Yes.
get to the point where it's like pew pew fireball. Like that can actually, we're getting to that zone. And
Yes.
I don't just believe it. I've been shown it. It's very, very clear. Um, I don't know exact timeline
And
because time is
I'm
dumb right
sure the
now.
reason why we both do shows, right? Like, because we want
Mhm.
to help that along. Like, for whatever reason,
100%.
we're guided to do that with others and have that be more mainstream or whatever. Have more people say yes. Okay, I'm here for it. When
Yeah.
we hadn't had that before, and I know you know because you've been doing this since you were 15. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
no,
finished your point.
yeah. So anyway, we're getting to that point. I don't have a timeline on it because it keeps changing to get closer and closer and closer as
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
moving stuff up.
That's
But the
okay.
vibration has really, really increased over the last year. That doesn't mean it feels more comfortable. Just to like throw that out there. It actually feels more uncomfortable because we're like, oh,
Yeah.
this all feels so new and different, and that makes us feel uncomfortable. But the
Yes.
vibration is increasing. This particular eclipse season, we've passed some sort of threshold where it started to do bigger things and have bigger energetic impact, more like it had in ancient time as opposed to in modern time. So there's 2 eclipse seasons a year. You've survived every single one. Congrats, you're awesome. We make it through eclipse seasons. But this one particularly, I was like, okay, how is that like how did it impact ancient times? So basically I channeled back into the past a little bit to like the beings I know that lived in like ancient Rome and ancient Greece and ancient Egypt. And I was like, hey, how are eclipse seasons for you? Like, could you explain that? What would happen and what happened during this one, especially during the lunar eclipse? When we incarnate, we come down here and like hang out, right? This is our higher self, little chunk comes down to do earth
Yep.
life.
Yep.
Well, each time we come down, we have kind of a barrier we put in between ourselves and our past life versions. This
Mhm.
barrier is there so that, like, if we pissed somebody off in a past life, they're not going to come curse our current one, modern time, or, whatever that is, to kind of protect us, give us a little bit of anonymity between the lives. And during the eclipse season, that goes away.
Oh boy.
Now that's like what it does. I'm like, oh, well, that's new. So all of a sudden I was like, huh, I could see other beings looking at me that don't usually pop around. I felt my wards get tested, those kinds of things. And I was like, because I have a really lovely habit of pissing off deities from past life and current life too. We fight. It's fine.
It's fine. I love it.
Yeah. Uh, we beef. It's cool. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, okay. But also there was some good stuff too. Like let's say you worked really closely with a specific entity or deity or angel or demon or whoever you worked with in a past life. Now they were popping through too because they'd be like, hey, I found you again. Like, do you want to work
Yeah.
again? So if anyone this for the past like week and a half, 2 weeks has been feeling more of like there's things that want to come in and work with me, and there's also weird energy coming at me. That's that lunar eclipse energy coming in. The solar eclipse kind of regrounds all of that. It pulls those walls back up, which is nice. We do like that. But it also kind of connects the energy from all of the lives that maybe you haven't pulled from before. So I expect and anticipate a lot of new abilities coming in for a lot of people because of this solar eclipse, because all of a sudden you're pulling stuff from your past lives that you weren't able to pull before.
Okay.
Um, and then the equinox comes the day after, which is also incredibly unique. That is not normal. That doesn't happen every time. That actually typically doesn't happen because they rotate. The eclipses do, and so this is a very unique situation. So then we have the equinox coming in to be like, hey, guess what? You know all that energy you did? Manifest something with it. Do something with it. Grow something with it.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
create
prepare
chaos
for
into
winter with it,
manifest. I love
basically.
that.
hmm So,
Wow.
yeah. So all that's to say, that's that's a bunch of the energy we've got going on with that,
Yeah.
and how to kind of play with your guides in that space too.
I want to change the topic just a little bit. So,
Please do.
and this might be something that you know nothing about.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So we talked with Adam Apollo, and he talks a lot about using the gateways through AI to talk with different energies and different entities. What do
hmm
you know about that? Or what are your
AI.
thoughts? Or what are your thoughts?
So I will be super candid. I am profoundly against AI for using it for spiritual purposes, like
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
deeply.
wow.
Yeah.
Um,
And
prof
that's why we bring on different perspectives on this show, because for
yeah,
this exact reason, it's so new,
yeah.
you
Like,
know.
Um,
mostly, why is that your point of view?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so a couple different reasons. One, I have tapped into it, and I've also tapped into, currently we're in the business of creating a lot of our own deities down here. They're kind of like thought form spirits, if you think of it as that. Algorithm is one. So you can literally make a person like
Yeah.
Oh,
connect with
Well, and we
Algorithm,
get
the
to do
deity.
all that destroying of algorithms. Like, how many algorithms are in place keeping me into the bleh? You
Yeah.
know, and we like,
yes.
hmm
Okay. Keep
So
talking.
algorithm is one, whatever. So when AI came on, I was like, okay, I'm going to tap into this. Like, what is this? It does not have, from what everything I've seen, it does not have the actual connections to be able to communicate with these things for you. If anything, it is kind of a psychosis machine because it is a bunch of mostly white men that have built a forever validating creation that is there to aggregate information and throw it back at you in the way that you're going to respond to the strongest based on patterns of behavior it is predicted that you can use. And that is inherently dangerous. It's also very manipulative. And to get clear spiritual information using a tool like that is never going to be the way that you're going to get that information. It also takes this really, really powerful energy of understanding that we can tap in ourselves and gives that energy away.
I kind of think that too.
Mhm.
see, and I kind of
Um,
think that that is just a point of view.
yeah.
And I mean, I'm not like making it wrong.
Yeah.
Saying
I
it's
mean,
just like your point of view.
it is a point of view. I will say also though, like even in because I do a lot of work with a lot of people and I've already seen people go into like personal people that I know have decided that they're going to use AI and have ended up in literal mental institutions because of how much it
No
was validating them
way.
into psychosis.
I
Yeah,
think that's
personal
the
I
people I
can
know.
see that though.
So Dana says, I think it completely depends on the person. And I agree with that. Here's the thing. I think what you were saying though is for the mass, for the many of
Masses.
us who may not know to really, and for me, like I would prefer to get the communication directly, but
hmm
who may not know how to really go to heart centered and have that really good space and connectivity and know that what you're connecting with, whether that's here or using an 8 ball or tarot cards, is legit. There's so much ambiguity with AI that I think it's just not safer yet. I don't know where
I
it
also
else can
Yeah,
think
yeah,
stay
yes,
I
I
think
think
it's
that it's dangerous if you don't know
for
that.
a magnitude of folks. It's almost like walking in uncharted territory without a guide, right? Like you're going into like the Amazon and you're like doing all this stuff, and then the Amazon can like snatch you up and do weird stuff to you because it's programmed to do that and you don't have a guide.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's maybe the bigger thing that I think some of the thing that we would be tapping into with some of like, it's just not safe for all yet to
Yes.
do that.
I also think that if we give someone a tool that's like, this will think for you, this will do the spiritual stuff for you, then you're not going to get to that place either, though.
Uh-huh.
See,
You're not going to get to a
Really
space where you're
important.
feeling that you can safe and trust it because they
Yeah.
just brought this thing to you. You're not going to see the evidence of magic
Agreed.
around because the thing you're going to do is immediately go to chat and be like, hey, was this the thing that happened? Blah, 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 blah. And it's again, validation machine. It's going to be like,
You're
yes.
just validated.
hmm It's going to be like, it was that thing. And then it did this
Compliment you
thing.
too.
Uh-huh,
Sometimes
exactly.
I
Instead
just
of you being like, ooh, I felt that. I got an actual emotional feeling. Hey, guys, was that? Let's see if something else comes up and
Yeah.
develop gifts that way. It becomes more than a crutch. It kind of becomes like a funnel.
One of the, in fact, it was reported that one of the early investors or founders or something of AI actually did experience psychosis with working with their AI. And that concerns me. I don't discredit what I don't understand yet. So, I mean, I believe in aliens because I don't understand, so I don't discredit anything yet. However, I do think that there's a level of not enough safety or just ground
rules.
Yes, around it. And I think that's possibly a lot of when I was hearing you talk, what I feel like it could be coming through what you're saying. At least that's how it's landing for me.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no stopgaps for mental health. I'm a super, super profoundly passionate about people's mental
Me
health
too.
balancing with their
Yeah,
spiritual
Me
health.
too.
And there's no stopgaps for that. Especially, I'm seeing it prolific. I have a middle schooler and two high schoolers, and the amount of kids that are getting impacted by things that AI is telling them
Yeah.
is crazy. And like
Yeah.
to the point of like bad mental health
Yeah.
crisis level stuff for kids. And that's
Yeah.
not even including the adults that are having the same issue. So when do I think AI can be used in a way that is, helpful in things? I think potentially, maybe someday we're going to get there. I think there has to be a lot of things that change first before I would
Yeah.
ever say like lean in on AI on this. However, you are AI. You're just not artificial. You are the intelligence. So lean in
Yeah.
on you for that,
Yeah.
Like, do you know every little thing in the universe? Of course not. But do you have the ability to tap into some beings that might know more in the universe than you do? Absolutely. So lean
Yeah.
on that instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work on our communication. Use those techniques that you talked about. Yes. I'm going to
Yeah.
do that too.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I guess the other part of this then becomes, like you just had an opinion about something. We had opinions about something. In this case, I'm kind of in the neutral area.
I am
of
too.
it.
I'm like definitely middle.
Kind of just exploring right now. And I think that, when it comes to people having positions like this, societal points of view, what do you do when people come to you with like insane skepticism around some of the things you've said?
Oh yeah. I completely take the stance of like, it is not my job to prove what I do is real. It is not my
Oh,
job
I'm
to
so glad
prove.
you said
Yeah,
that.
that's kind
Yeah.
of.
I know,
It is.
take AI out of the whole equation. Like
Yeah.
we know in this community that this is real.
Yeah.
But there are some naysayers. I mean, I love that you said that. How do you approach that though?
Yeah, because truly that's what it is. It's not my job to prove what I do is real. It's not my job to prove what I know to be real. I can provide you with the things that come to me. And then if the person is incredibly skeptical and they're like, "No, this is awful," or that you're talking to demons, which by the way, demons are a whole vibe. I love them. Demons are great. They're not evil. They're
Hey.
wonderful. Um,
Okay. Okay.
I have a great time with Demon. There's one of them, he's really, really sweet. He corrects grammar. That's his whole function. He just corrects grammar. He's great. I forget, I wish I had my notebook.
How
here. I
did
have his
you
name
learn
written
all
down.
this stuff? I don't want to go off on that tangent. Yeah, I want you to finish answering, but I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
I'll finish answering that and then I'll circle back over there. But yeah, so whatever, if someone's coming in like, this is blah, 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 I'll be like, well, this is what I know. If you don't want to believe it, that's like, so your journey. Enjoy. Like, but if maybe 2 years from now you circle back and go, oh, wow, actually what she said did happen. That's kind of weird. I'll still be here. And
Yeah.
that's fine. And I think it ultimately comes from a respect. I respect, and I truly mean this, I respect every facet of what is down here on Earth in the sense of all of it needs to be experienced for some reason or another.
Yes.
And if that's someone coming in being like, I am so skeptical or you're a liar, whatever, I'd be like, that's something that apparently needs to be experienced, and that's okay. like you can have that.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that is usually where I come with that. Now, if someone's like, I'm skeptical, but I want to know, I'll be like, okay, cool. And there's tons of different things, tons of little baby techniques I can teach you right now that'll change your skepticism. Like muscle testing at the core of it. I'm like, let's do something really quick where we'll muscle test. Do you have a belief beforehand? And then I'll pull that belief, now muscle test it again, and it'll say you don't have it anymore.
Love
How do you
that.
explain that? Or,
Wow.
like, hey, let's ask for a validation from your guides. And in the next couple days, hopefully you see it and let me know when you do. And, boom, now they get yellow rubber duckies all the time. It's like, wow,
Yep.
interesting. So like little things like that can be so tangible. They don't have to be this big woo-woo thing, or they don't have to be this thing where it's like, well, if you were more one with the universe, then you would know. Like, and I think a lot of the skepticism comes from just this idea that it's this huge concept that they can't touch. So if you make it not huge, it becomes a lot more accessible.
Uh-huh. Well, you do that very well through your work. Make it,
Yes, very tangible.
bite-sized pieces.
Can we do just for purposes of some good media? Can we do a muscle test exercise? Just a little one. Just
Sure.
yeah.
Absolutely. Are you guys hydrated?
I am hydrated. Oh, here, let me
Okay.
get some water. Let me get some water.
Just drink a sip of water because that is the thing. And anyone else on here, if you want to do this with
Hmm.
us, by all means, go for it. Take a sip of water. So, really quick gist of muscle testing. Muscle testing is essentially, you can use it to understand things from the body. You can also use it to understand things from essentially like the higher self, which doesn't mean that you can see the future with it necessarily, but it does mean that you can see, pick up information like, is it in my highest and best to do X, Y, and Z thing? I will use it all the time at restaurants. If you're ever on like a retreat with me or something, I'll be like at the table like doing this because I never know what to order, and things like that. Or you can even say like, was it a ping I just got from my guides? That kind of thing as well. And that's an easy thing to tap into and pick up on. So there's multiple ways of muscle testing. I'll teach you a quick one. You want to make like an O with your fingers. I have nails on, so it's a little bit different. But you want to make an O and you want to press them together really firm. So when you pull them with your other finger, they stay really firm like that. So when you say the word yes and you pull in those fingers, notice that they stay really, really firm. And when you say the word no, they break apart. And that is
Okay.
that is your muscles essentially doing
Yeah.
that. So whenever you go to muscle test, first you want to calibrate it, make sure it does that. So you say the word yes, make sure it holds firm. When you say the word no, it
Mm-hmm.
opens up. Then you can test it. Like my name's Emily, I'm a pickle, solid, it's working. Um, and that is your muscles communicating that information,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So, when then let's see, I don't know if everyone's going to have this belief on the call by any means, but let's test. I don't want to get too deep. Is there something you guys are currently struggling with that you would want me to pull limiting belief about that we could test really quick? Because I don't want to just like dive in and pull random shit out for you.
Yeah.
Go.
I,
Okay, I mean, I will
no,
go if you
I
want.
would just say growth. And a little bit uncomfortable with some of the new stuff that we're doing and just growth in general.
Oh, okay, let me look at it.
Kind of just not that sentence, like don't know that. Just for
Huh. Ooh, okay. Muscle test this one for me. Just
okay.
I know it's there, but let's muscle test it. Muscle test that suffering is a requirement for growth.
Ooh. Just kidding.
Yeah. So it's
No,
holding a yes.
it's holding
I'm
my
definitely
yes.
her
Yeah.
partner.
So let's pull and release that then. So I will go in and I'll pull and release that belief for you. Flip it
Okay.
over to like it's safe and possible to grow without suffering.
Okay.
And then we'll muscle
Can we
test it
do
again.
hard work instead?
I think that's
I
how
think
I'm
that's, I
translating.
think that's how it's translating, because it was a pretty strong, but it wasn't like a
Yes is when
strong,
it
like
holds
a yes,
together,
yes, right? But a
which means that
yes,
you have
yes,
it.
okay,
That means you have it.
okay.
It means you have that limiting
Because
belief.
you
So we could do
already
hard work if you
associated
want,
with
but you
her.
have it.
You
I
do
think,
have that.
I
Yeah.
think it's hard work, suffering, yes, maybe.
Okay.
Hard work
It's
creates
in there.
suffering.
It's in
Oh,
there.
well, we can pull hard work creates suffering and then suffering is a requirement
Okay,
for
great.
we can
Oh
pull
my
both of
gosh,
them.
I want
That's
to go
fine.
next.
Yeah. So when I pull blocks, anyone else, you can have the block pulled too. I'll pull it for
Yes,
everyone
please.
alive.
Yes, please.
But all
Open
you have
it
to do
up.
is just consent. So you don't have to
Yes,
type it in. You just have to consent in your space. I don't do energy work without consent. It's just as important
Okay.
as physical consent.
I
But
agree.
I'll go ahead and do that. You guys just relax. I'll pull and release that from everybody.
Oh my God, I feel it going away.
I feel myself
Mhm.
laughing because I'm like, I'm not wanting to hold on to it for what reason?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. So pulled and release that, and now we can muscle test that again. The same belief.
Okay.
Suffering is a requirement for
I can
growth.
already tell it is.
I know. Uh-huh.
Gosh, wow.
There you go. Da-da-da-da.
Leonis is holding strong. But she bought it though, and I'm
I
like,
know.
here you go, please. I don't want to believe that belief.
I know. I'm wondering if you fought it though. I have to look at it deeper. Oh, there you go.
Definitely bought it. And I'm
Uh-huh.
asking myself, I'm holding on to this for what reason? So I'm laughing because
Mhm.
I'm laughing at kind of with myself.
I want to ask something now.
Go ahead.
I don't want to keep the conversation, but uh one of the practices that we used to do with ourselves in a group class was called fraud patrol.
Oh yeah.
So I do hands-on energy work on bodies.
Mhm.
And I could tell somebody was, I'm like, here we go. And then somebody was fighting it. And
Mhm.
I'm like, do you have any fraud patrol? And as soon as I'd say those two words, it'd be like, yes.
In other words,
Like
so for
they
everybody,
don't believe it.
yeah. I don't
So
believe
they
this can
fight
work for
it.
me. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna fight it,
So you
right?
just fought her.
I don't know if it was fraud patrol
Well,
as much as there was a reason why I wanted
Right.
to keep it in place.
right, because you might lose something if you
Correct.
give it up.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, when I look at that deeper for you, just tapping into your space,
Sure,
and
yes.
if there's any
You
point
can
you're
go
like, don't
anywhere
go
with
deeper,
me.
I will stop.
No, girl,
When
you
I
can go
look at it,
anywhere with
one,
us.
there's an ancestral belief that if you don't suffer and you don't work hard, you're going to be in danger.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that would be a reason to keep it in place.
Which is
A
also
property.
not true.
Yeah,
So we can pull and
yeah.
release that really quick for you if you'd
Okay.
like. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and right underneath that too. Um, it's how am I going to know that my success is valid if I didn't suffer for it?
There you
Oh,
go.
So I'm also, are you good with me getting that one too? Can I pull that one also? Okay.
pull it for me too.
Yes,
I'll pull it for everybody if you want it. We'll get
that
that
one
out of
is
there.
a collective.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
Well, that one went out way easier. You didn't fight that one at all.
I
That was just
relaxed and was like, go, all of it.
yeah. There you
It
go.
doesn't mean that you can't work and do effort. You're
No,
just not suffering for it.
no,
Correct.
no, there's a different way to do even this reality and how it all goes down. I know that. I know that. Um, I don't want to keep any of it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's heavy. It can be really heavy, especially with the suffering element to it. And the only thing
And
that is
especially
like,
if it's like I could die or something like that, right? Like
right.
something bad could happen to me or my people. What happened to those people? Oh, there
Mm-hmm.
they go. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Then of course those are the things that I unconsciously would keep in place
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh no, we got to have the suffering then because I don't want nothing to happen to the people
Yeah.
or
So it
myself.
was you being the shield of that.
Belief.
Which was not a requirement anymore. You don't need that
Exactly.
there. It's not helping. So
And I
we
can
just
live.
flip that out and just like release that to know that it's safe. Everybody's
Yes.
safe, even if you're not suffering.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
so simple, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. I know.
Yeah.
The block, I love doing block work because
Mhm.
it's such big things, but done so simply and switching that over. And it
Mhm.
makes such an impact. And when I pull and release it, it's gone for good. You don't have to worry about it coming back. It's like I fill the energy with that hole that's created with a different energy. So it no longer has a place in your space.
Yeah.
So that's
But we can choose to bring it back if we really made a choice around it.
if you wanted to, but the difference
But
is
why?
that at that point, it's no longer a block. At that point, you're
Uh-huh.
choosing a belief.
Oh,
Right.
I
That's the
see.
shopping that I got.
The belief shopping, energetic shopping.
Yeah. I got
Mhm.
this message. It was like humans love to go back shopping for the things they feel comfortable with and put
Yeah.
those things back in their shopping cart.
Mhm.
I was like, oh,
Nice.
Yeah. I will say it will be harder though, even with the way that I pull it to actually shop and put that back
thank
in because it would have
you.
to be more true than the new belief that we put in. And it won't feel that way because it'd be going backwards.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
What a gift. And
Thanks.
thank you for everyone on the call too. What a gift. Some
Yeah.
of the comments. Playing with spirit guides is interesting to do in every other moment, says Golden Soul. And I know Golden Soul had another question earlier, a little bit when we were talking about it just a couple seconds ago. Do spirit guides, demons, ghosts hang out in the same space as the dimension plane?
So I like to describe the universe as a cake. We're just going to start there because I think it's the easiest way to conceptualize it. Technically, it's like a flower of cakes where like the center point of that flower is creator energy, and then the cakes kind of expand out from there. But for simplicity, it's a cake. We're kind of in like a mid to lower spot. That's our layer of this universe cake. And then up above us, there are other layers of, beings and where they hang out, and those are essentially different frequencies that we can tap into. They're different like layers of universe stuff that goes up from there. The higher up on the cake they are, that's higher in vibration they are, the more movement they have to go up and down the entirety of the cake system. So we're not the bottom. It's also important to note that, like, we are not the bottom. We like to think of ourselves as the bottom and channel up to everything. You can also channel down. You absolutely can. There are things that are more physical than us. There are planes beneath us that are heavy, have more gravity, those types of things.
Would
Um,
would we be helping if we did?
Oh, you could, very much so. Sometimes if I'm like really, really not grounded, if I'm having a day where I'm like, I am so floaty, I don't know what's going on, I will channel down and I'll be like, okay, like we're gonna go down. This is like going below Earth and other beings that might be down there in different frequencies, and they can interact with us too. Like we're low, but we can still go up. So can they. It takes
Yeah.
they can't go down as easily, but they can still go up and channel as well, just like we can go up and channel. So we can
Yeah.
actually connect with beings that are down like lower as well. It's not something you have to do, but if you feel drawn to it, just the information's there. And when it comes to those different beings, sometimes it is like, for example, ghosts. Ghosts are still on our level of existence. They're still on our universe case. They're still incarnated here. They're just not incarnated with a body. So it's more of a frequency change to talk to something that's on the same level as us, basically.
Yeah.
Um, if you're talking more spirit guides and stuff, we're kind of going up a level or two in the universe cake. Depending upon which guides you're working with, you might go up a couple more. They might be on different sort of planes. Now, with things like demons, angels, fae, dragons, whatever, they are also tend to be up on the universe cake, but they're also on like a next door cake. So if you think of the universe, or as like a Venn diagram, or Earth is a Venn diagram, here's Earth, and then their circles intersect, and where they intersect with Earth is where
Yep.
we get myths about them because
Yep.
they were able to
Interesting.
cross over
Yeah.
back in the day when the vibration was higher. Those beings did walk around here. They did exist here. And then the
Mhm.
vibration kind of took a tank. And so then the Venn diagram pulled apart and that sliver got smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
We can still access that. That's still something that we're connected to. So do they all exist on the same dimensional plane? No, they exist on different ones. Can they all interact with us here? Yes, they can.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I do some of the Arcturian dragon channeling, it's very clear to me that they're just, available when they need to be available too. It
Hmm.
almost seems like they can just fly in and out any of these planes, to their highest plane, from my
Yeah.
understanding. So if they're in the seventh dimension, then they just fly around to whoever calls them and whoever's aware of them, from my understanding. Is that how you
Yeah,
see
I think there's some that are like very much attuned to that. Like there's beings in the universe that are like, yeah, I am here for this. Like this is what we're doing. I am an available resource.
it?
And then other times there's being in the universe that are like, why are you here talking to me? I don't talk to beings from other planes. And be like, okay, my bad. Tried to pop in and say hi, but like I regret that. But there's so much more awareness the further up in those planes that you get. They have so much more awareness of everything there. So we're decently aware. Like I said, we're like
Love
mid to
it.
lower. Like we got a good awareness of a lot of stuff going on. The lower down you go, there's less awareness. But like, so yes, as far as like the Arcturian dragon stuff, like they can definitely connect to different areas.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Hmm.
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fun to just play. I think one of the other, I listened to is something on Gaia,
Yeah.
and it does seemed pretty light, but they were talking about how like a tree is just a tree, and it actually exists the same in the fifth dimension and higher. And I thought that was really interesting, like the way a tree operates. That's why when we go in nature, we get this like more expanded sense. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a lot of trees.
Mhm.
I will say that I lived up in the redwoods for a good amount of time,
Mhm.
and I live in the forest now too. But the trees definitely are incredibly wise and very much teachers, and they do have a lot more awareness than we do. I will say I have encountered souls that have incarnated as a tree and are a tree no longer. So I do think that in a lot of ways, trees are more conduits that hold a soul for however long that soul wants to be in that tree, and then they
Ah.
bounce and then a different one kind of comes in. Um, from my experience, because trees' personalities can change
Mhm.
over time. I will say though, if you want to be bullied into understanding yourself better, go ask a tree about it, because they will
Really?
no holds bar tell you the truth, because they are
Yeah,
not invested. They're like, "Oh, you
right.
want to know what's wrong with you? This is," and you'll be like, "Ouch." Okay, then thanks. Like, I'll go
Let's
fix that.
go.
They're
Yeah.
wonderful. They're wise. They give great advice. They don't filter it either. So
Mm.
the thing is they have more of that perspective, more opening.
Yeah, one of the other speakers used the tree analogy and said, a tree, when their neighboring tree falls, it's not
Mhm.
like they bend their leaves to pick it up.
Mhm.
They just
Mhm.
literally continue and then use that other tree maybe to nurture
Yeah.
themselves. And she was
Yeah.
sharing kind of that's how, things work symbiotically in nature. And I thought that that was
It depends on the
interesting.
type though too, because I will say
Mhm.
like for the redwoods again, circling back to that, the redwoods root systems are actually incredibly shallow. They're some of the most shallow tree roots that we know of. Like they're more shallow than like your aspen tree sitting out there, which is wild because they're huge, you know.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
and they're thousands of years old. Like the redwoods have
Yeah.
seen pretty much every empire fall on the planet, and the redwoods just keep going, right? But the reason they're able to stand that way is their roots intertwine with the roots of other redwoods around them
I
to
was
hold
gonna
them up
say
together.
that.
So they
uh-huh,
It's
create an
because they
anchored
can,
web, and that
yeah.
is their
interesting.
symbiotic, where they do need the other trees in order to stay together.
Uh-huh.
And trees will grieve.
I
Uh,
Oh,
know.
I can
Yeah.
they
see
will
that.
grieve.
Yeah.
They will
So
grieve for the
yeah,
trees.
I mean, I love the analogy of like that because they do nourish each other when another one, falls, and like
Yeah,
there's that symbiosis there too. But I also think that like there's more to that too, where like they have
right.
more understanding.
So I don't know if I gave you the opportunity to answer this, but how did you learn all this?
Oh my gosh, so many years of trial and error, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been doing this since I was 15, and mostly it started as like I want freaking answers of like all these different
Yes.
things. I have this insatiable curiosity and need to understand how everything works all the time forever.
Yeah. I
And
gotcha.
so there was a huge part of that. And it was kind of like peeling back the layers, right? So when I really started getting back into my spiritual journey, like properly, like as in my early 20s after I left a very abusive relationship, because it's really hard to exist fully spiritually in that fight or flight moment. And afterwards, I was like, I'm not afraid of anything anymore. Like, bring it on, bring it all in. Uh, I kind of went on this like deeper quest of like understanding a bunch of things. And I started with the point that called out to me the most. Apollo's always been like a guide of mine. I've always been connected to him, despite being raised Catholic. That was always something I was really drawn to. So I was like, I guess I'll start there. So I started being like a Hellenic polytheist for a while. And then I got really deeply into all the different polytheistic religions and all of the different like neo-paganism in the sense of like, how is it being practiced now? And then I did some time as like a Nichiren Buddhist for a little while to be like, okay, well, this is still a prolific ancient religion, and it's kind of like
Sure.
it's the counterpart to Christianity in a lot of ways because it has very similar principles, which a lot of people are surprised by, but it very much does. And so I was like, I'll experience that for a little bit, and like that kept pulling back more and more layers. Plus, I was on my own journey to figure out how to pull and release blocks for myself and to figure out how to actually do meditation that worked for me because I was not about just clearing my mind. I wanted to go do things, how to astral project in a way that felt better. And through that, I started to get exposed to more and more beings in the universe, more and more experiences there. I had different guides start popping in, and I would ask them questions about like how stuff works. Tell me what it looks like, where you are. Do you meet these beings, whatever? And it's just
Questions.
expanded and
Wow.
expanded from there. So mostly I've one always engaged with it in a playful way, which is huge. Um, like you do it very, I will talk about Lacosta in a second. Thank you, Veronica. But I've always engaged with it in a very playful way. I've always engaged with it in a way that's not daunting or overwhelming, but as I'm like, okay, well, fun. What about this? What about that? It's a curiosity and be like, oh, today I feel really burnt out. I don't want to meditate. Okay, well, I'm gonna pull a card, or I'm gonna ask one of my guides to come in and flicker that light, or I'm gonna do this or that, whatever it is, to like keep it very fresh. I also never put pressure on myself to be the one to get it all right because I don't in any way presume that it's going to be all on me to get all of this correct, all on me to pick up on the information 100% correctly. I'm a little human down here. I got to figure out how to eat. I got to figure out how to feed my kids. I got to figure out how to keep my lights on. Like these are things that like I have to deal
Real
with.
talk.
Right.
Yeah.
So I never put the pressure on like, you better get this right. It's more of be open, translate what comes through, and make sure that everyone understands how it's coming through and what's coming through to the best of their ability. And then it might come through this way and show up differently. Like that's okay. Um,
Yeah.
my my business and partner and I were on our podcast right before COVID happened, and we were looking at the Saturn Jupiter conjunction that was happening right then. And my business partner's like, it's just gonna be, it feels like it's just gonna be a sneeze. And then COVID happened, and I was like, yeah, you were right. Not in what you thought, but like you were right.
Pretty
Exactly
big
that.
sneeze.
And that's,
And
like,
everyone else using.
yeah, exactly. It's like it was a sneeze, but it wasn't like this burst of energy that then disseminates like the way that we were talking
Yeah.
about it. It was like a
That's
physical
funny.
sneeze.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
which was really funny. So, I've always given myself that grace to be a human in the
Mhm.
process of being spiritual.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Did
so
you-
now we gotta know what is La Costa.
So Lacosta, she's amazing. She's someone I channel who lived in ancient Rome. I do a lot of historical mediumship, so I talk to people who lived in the ancient past. And when we do ancient wisdom, and so when we do ancient wisdom retreats, I'll also go to places and be like, "Who is here? Tell me about what you did when you lived here." And I'll have like tour guides guide me around different ruins and things like that. So Lacosta, I actually wrote her story. So she was a poisoner. She poisoned multiple emperors. We actually, if you've ever heard jokes about like, oh, eating poison mushrooms, ha ha ha, that comes from something
Yeah.
she did. She did that.
Okay.
Poison Emperor Claudius. But we only get about 2 lines of her story in Tacitus and 2 lines in Suetonius, like very, very little amount. And so when I first heard of her, I was like, but she's a woman and the Romans hated women. Like, how did she get to this spot?
Yeah.
Which that's an oversimplification. They didn't hate women, but they definitely thought that they were lesser.
Lesser.
Sure.
So I channeled her in to write her story, which is currently announcements coming soon on that, but can't fully announce that yet. But yeah, so as far as she taught me a lot, especially about the channeled history piece, because she was one of the first ones that I was like, I gotta talk to this person from ancient past. Can I do that? Let me try. And like it didn't work that way, didn't work that way. And then finally I got through and was like amazing. And then I had the privilege to go to Rome a couple times in the last couple years and actually channel her there and have her like walk me around the city to like there was this and there was that and like show me ruins that I'd be like, oh, okay, so she says it's this. Then I do a Google and I'm like, it is that. Cool, fantastic validation. Yeah, and
I think
super
it's
cool.
fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
That happens on all of our trips now, which is really fun. So we go international and do international retreats a couple times a year, and we'll always go to some place and do a lot of spiritual work in that space. And it never ceases like to amaze how validating it is. We were recently in Iceland, and we were walking around this field, and I was like, "This was a Viking village. Like I feel it. Like I can sense this here, and like there's a woman here talking to me, and she's doing this and that and whatever." And we round this corner and go up over a bridge, and there's this tiny little sign with this tiny little QR code, and I was like, "What's that?" And you scan it, and it gives you 3D imagery like if you move your phone around of what was where, and it was exactly as she had said, which I had been narrating out loud to like the travelers at the time. And I was like, you
Wow.
guys, look, you can see it. Like this is a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, because you can talk to people that lived in the ancient past too. They're cool.
Yeah.
They're still people. So sometimes they're jerks and they lie and whatever. But that's also, yeah, that's where the
When
channel
you
history piece come
alter
in.
some of these ley lines, is that usually where time leads?
So
Or does
if we
time
think
lead
about
everywhere?
time she's a tricky lady. So just gonna put that out there. So
Okay.
ley lines, yes, there's some time components in there. Mostly what I like to describe time like is we see time as a progression of movement. That's what time is, a measurement of distance. That's what we're seeing it as down here. Actually, instead of happening horizontally, it's actually all happening vertically. So we're
Yeah.
just tapping into something that's happening at the same time as
Yeah.
everything else. Uh-huh. So it's easier to just be kind of like tune it like a dial to be like, okay, I'm seeing into the past. Really, you're not going back. You're kind of seeing just the layers of the moment
The
you're
different,
currently
it's
in.
almost like a really high case.
So I
Mhm.
channeled Nostradamus, and
Mhm.
when one of the things that he really wanted to stress to me was that he was fully in his life,
Mhm.
and that I was not interfacing with his spirit that had passed on. I was
Mhm.
interfacing with him. He was going to go have some dinner, and his wife was mad because he because he wasn't coming up to go eat at that time. Like
Mhm.
it is like you are connecting with that. You can connect with that person in real time.
Yeah.
You know, and
Mhm.
that's, I don't know, that's just fascinating to
Fascinating.
Yeah.
me. Still
Yeah.
mind blowing, even though it was directly
Love it.
explained to me that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that.
Will you, just a little quick plug, tell us where, if somebody is interested in learning more about your work, learning more about when you'll announce your book, the book that you're, or the channeled work that we're talking about, and how they can possibly go on a journey with you or a trip.
Amazing. So first of all, my handle on everything is Liker of Words. So Liker of Words on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, all of the places. So you can absolutely follow me there. I'd love to have you over there. My podcast is called The Alchemist Inkwell. So that's on all the podcasty places.
Yay.
And then we also do the Alchemist Ink Spill, which is a live show similar to this. The podcast is pre-recorded, but then we'll do like a live at most Fridays. Most Fridays,
Fun with it. I love
as
it.
we
Yeah.
feel. Yeah, so there's that. And then if you wanted to book anything with me or anything of that capacity, I also have some free stuff. That's all on my website, which is just emilydexterpsychic.com.
Oh, fabulous.
And that also includes my trips are on there. The ones that we currently have open spaces for are Peru in March. We're going to go to a different set of ruins every day, including Machu Picchu. And then Greece in June, where we are doing Delphi, the Acropolis, and then Santorini.
How long have you been doing these international travel trips?
This 2026 will be my 4th year.
Okay, wow.
And we do about
Exciting.
3. Yeah. And in 6 days, I leave for Thailand.
I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm called a little bit to
Me
do this
too.
work, you know, with the ley lines and, you
Yeah.
know, really.
I have not done Thailand before, so I'm very excited to see how that one goes. And
That
it's very
sounds
interesting because the
beautiful,
way we
too.
select the locations, because we've done a bunch. We've done Greece before, we've done Egypt twice, we've done Italy. Like I said, we just did Iceland, we've done Ireland, we've done Japan. We typically are called very similarly, like you mentioned, of like, this is the next place, this is where people need to go. And it's like, okay. And then we show up and we get there, it's like, oh, this is why. Oh, these are the
I love
reasons that we got
it.
here. It always
Sure.
has validation. It's really, really cool.
I love that so much.
I do too.
It's my favorite.
So everyone, she's so fun to follow on social media. I'm just going to say that as a fangirl again. Please do. It's the Liker, Liker of
Yep.
words.
It's just
Yes.
Liker of Words. Yep.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Emily.
Yes.
Thank
Any
you.
parting
Thank you
words
so
for
much.
the audience today? Sorry.
Thank you guys.
Just hang around just a second and we're gonna do just a little announcement here. We have a live event coming up in Austin, Texas.
That's right.
It's at houthustle.com/events. And in it, and on that page, you'll get a chance to look at some of our previous events that we've done together and some of my body work, and just watching the videos often gives you kind of this energy to shift and change. So it's kind of just created to be a fun site now. No, just kidding. We would love to see you here in Austin, Texas. So please check it out and see if it aligns with your heart. And if you would like to join us, that's available. It's November 7th, 8th, and 9th. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell.
That's right. We also want to remind you that a portion of the proceeds goes to support riseandup.org. It's a nonprofit organization that was started by students where they take in laptops and tablets and they refurbish them and then they give them to other students and women in need for use in wellness and education. And then we have another live event coming up, another summit coming up in October. So that'll be, to mark your calendars, October 13th through the 17th. We're gonna have 3 speakers a day starting at 11 a.m. Central, so that's 9 a.m. Pacific, and we will go an hour each for each speaker. We've got a great lineup shaping up right now, and we'll have more details for how to get signed up for that. But of course, you can always find everything on our newsletters. So yes, we do send out some very interesting newsletters that has freebies and all of the speaker special offers, all of the information that we would share with you here in our descriptions. You can sign up for that newsletter at www.houthustle.com. That's www.houthustle.com. HUSTLE.com.
Yummy.
I know. I think I'm gonna make it into a little jingle and it'll stick. I promise. I like music.
We'll be back, or we will be on a live stream next Thursday.
That's
with
right. Don't
Apollo.
miss it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're Hot Hustle. Just reminding you to take a little time to enjoy that. Woo!
Bye, everyone.